All right. Fingers crossed. Will we have better results this week? It says we're live. I have always wanted a good matrix drop screen. This is good. It's not perfect, but it's good. Hey, one person, one like. Patricia's here. First one up. Angie is up. I just checked it as well myself. This thing says excellent connection, but it looks like it's skipping. Is that, Patricia, are you seeing that scrolling smoothly? Or is it kind of bouncing? It's time to kill that anyway, so I guess it don't matter much. Let me see. How do I get over there? Do that, Control C, and we don't need that connection anymore. And we make errors. It's all good. You have indeed entered the matrix. Assalamu alaikum, my friend. Good to see you. Well, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm going so crazy that I'm wearing the same shirt from last week's show because last week's show kind of got deleted. It was pretty. All right. Well, I'm looking at the preview screen. It seems to be delayed as normal, but it's not hopping and skipping and jumping. It looks like it's about a 5 seconds delay. So hey, we've got a beginning. Man, what a bad 3 weeks for ADRAMADA. I am so sorry. I get the blame for 2 out of 3 of them. So tonight's solution, because it's been an insanely busy week, as they so often are, that my plan, I have a brilliant, utterly brilliant plan to be totally amazingly functional. Once I get to sit down and spend 4 hours reconfiguring. But since that plan could not come to fruition, I used my backup plan. As many of you know, if you're watching this on the archive, because there's 3 of us here right now, if you count myself, I do a show for my office, totally different configuration. And I said, you know what, that one works pretty darn well. I'll just steal that configuration for tonight. I'm not stealing anything. It's all my gear and it's all my software. But so I'm zooming. And of course, you can see the downside of that is you get the little zoom watermark in the lower right-hand corner. That part doesn't make me happy, but if I can show some stuff to you, if we can talk, we can have a little fun, then we shall. The audio is synced a lot better. Yeah, I know all the problems have gone away. Almost all the problems go away with this. Bitrate is higher than recommended. I was experimenting with this earlier, lower than recommended. Another thing happened today too. A new variable in the mix. We have 2 networks in the house, our personal home residential network forever. And my missus started a new job 6 months ago or so. And for legal and privacy reasons, she has to have her own network, not shared with this one. And so they brought Comcast in and set up a secondary network. And it's been working great for give or take 6 months until earlier this week. It's been flaky. She's down and I'm not, and both from Comcast and both from the same feed. There's one feed, then they tee it off, and then they run the 2 T's into a pair of routers. So something's weird with her equipment on the feed or whatever, but before doing the obvious, change out the T or change out, anyways, they called Comcast and had Comcast come out and do some experimenting. And Comcast said, you know, we're not sure something is wrong here, but we'll do a little work here and we'll change this cable and we'll fix that cable. And whatever happened, my upload and download speeds doubled. So fine, who am I to complain? Hey, well, happy Thursday, everybody. It is Thursday evening, 7 p.m. in Houston, where I am enjoying 102 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 7,000 degrees centigrade or Celsius, if you prefer. It's hot. And every Thursday night, we get together for this handy dandy little show, ADRAMADA. What is that? Another Ask Me Anything, ADRAMADA. Another Dave Rush. There we go. Ask Me Anything, Digital Alchemy. We get together for an hour or so every week, and we talk tech news, and we do a project. And I have had a project sitting on the burner for 3 weeks that I've just wanted desperately to share with you. And something has always gotten in the way. The weather prevented a show a couple weeks ago. Then the software primary site was down. It's up today. Last week was a technical debacle where just nothing worked. So this is the last attempt. If it doesn't happen tonight, it's never going to happen. I'll do a little 20-minute recording here all by my lonesome and post it in videos instead of live. Never give up, never surrender. And that's where we are today. What's everybody talking about here? It's a tad jerky. Sorry. I'm a tad of a jerk, so that only, oh my gosh, man, poor planning. All right, now we're in business. It's still pretty, it got deleted. Dang, did you cancel culture get you? Absolutely not. Hey, if you're playing Linux, especially if you're playing a Debian distro, because I just checked this on Rocky and it wasn't on RHEL or Rocky. To do that matrix thing, it's real simple. Sudo apt install cmatrix, the letter C, the word matrix, one word, no spaces, all lowercase. And it installs in a couple of moments. And then you just type in cmatrix space -H for help to find out the switches. You can just type cmatrix too, and it'll run at all of its defaults, which are pretty cool. So it's a pretty thing. I do like that. And it's got some great modes. The audio is synced. Fisher Gray says hi to everybody, and everybody's saying hi back. And Jason Helms is here. Better speeds, can't beat that. Yeah, keep it a secret. I will. Abu Bakr Al Haj, Assalamu alaikum, my friend. Another, yes, never give up. Arr. The jerky was about the Matrix rain. Video looks okay now. Sound is better than ever. Yeah, different platform. Oh, news this week, so much. Let's dive right into it. Today, if you're watching not live, this was recorded live on Thursday, July 13th at 7 p.m. Houston time. And I don't even know how to count what show number this would be. We're calling this show number 21. It would have been 22, except I deleted what was show 21 because it was just so bad. One final try to technical. And anyways, going to try and make this part of the weekly greeting, eep, op, ork, as we also will do in the end. All right, tech news of the week. No slides with this one. Patricia Grace pointed this out the other day, and I had noticed this also, and it's only getting better. If you haven't noticed, price of solid state drives has plummeted in recent months and weeks. I saw a good brand name 4 terabyte M2 SSD. I don't know if it was SATA or NVMe, but it was $179 on Prime Day. And we're seeing this all over the place. This is a real problem for me. I am always shopping for bigger, better, faster SSDs. And when you see them at prices that are too good to be true, it's either because the price has dropped or there are a tremendous number of fakes out there. I went and looked up some videos how to identify fake hard drives. And, you know, besides the low quality printing that people with better eyes than mine, and it's not eyes, I can see it just fine. I am terrible at ascertaining quality. If I see something that's poor quality, I ascribe it to, oh, their printer must have run out of ink and they were running low and they probably fixed it in 10 more. I don't know. So you can open them. That's the big deal. But, then you've bought it, then you've opened it, then you've discovered it's a fake. hopefully you bought it from somebody valid that you can return it to. Hairy stuff. I haven't read this article today. Somebody sent me the headline and the link. And I haven't followed this. Quite frankly, I wasn't even aware that it was underway. However, IEEE, they're the people who define and manage the 802 standards and zillions of other standards, the Industrial Electrical and Electronic Engineers Association. They have published and finalized, that means approved, the next generation of Fi. We've done Wi-Fi. Here comes Li-Fi, light. So I don't know if it's infrared or if it's laser or whatever. It almost surely is infrared. No, it isn't almost surely infrared. Anyways, the new light standard for doing local area transmission. Why is that important? Why is that cool? Wi-Fi uses radio frequencies. Maybe they're encrypted, maybe they're not, but that provides opportunity to intercept. I can be outside the building with a very sensitive receiver and collect all of your Wi-Fi RF traffic, radio frequency traffic, and then go home and work on decrypting it if it's encrypted. Light, you got to be there where the light is. So that makes things a lot more challenging. Is that cool? We'll get into that in future, like in a week or so when I have a chance to read up more on that. Hey, by the way, I don't see him here yet. Yeah, not here yet. Somebody last week, we brought up a topic last week. It was pretty much an audio show where his response was, I hate solar and I hate wind, nuclear only. I think it's a worthy discussion. I was hoping, I can't remember who it was. It's somebody we know. It's a regular. But if he comes back, I'll recognize the name and we'll bring that up. I'm going to repeat some of the things that I did last week because I have slides and I wanted to show you a couple of these things. So let's dive right into the viewer. First of all, we share the viewer. I'm doing Zoom, so sharing takes a little more effort than OBS. All right, we're sharing that, and then we go over to the actual. You are just not making my life fun. Okay. There we go. Works a little differently than that. Anyways, I wanted to talk about Pi-hole. I'll be brief on here because again, I said it all last week, but that show is gone. So here's another good reason to use Pi-hole. Pi-hole is a DNS sync. That means it has a list of IP addresses and DNS URLs and FQDNs that when a program says, hey, what's the IP address for this thing? If it's in the list, if it's in the block list, it says, I'm not going to look that up for you and I'm not going to respond for it. And the benefit is so often those things are advertisements that are going to turn up in your web pages. So if it can't provide the IP address to your browser to go get that ad, the ad doesn't show up. It syncs, takes away the ability to see these or to access these sites that hold the ads. So that's its primary mission. It's got a couple of other missions, and one of them is the fact that not only does it block DNS, it is a DNS server. It is a DNS resolution server, and it's also a DNS name server. And I've got a bunch of equipment in here, some of which don't participate well in DNS names. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to fire into the DNS name service aspect of it. I'll put in the IP addresses, and you can put in whatever name you want and fully qualified domain name. But I put in the FQDNs of all of my local devices that don't like to play nice with DNS. And now I can hit any device I want in my house by name because it calls, first of all, to this local DNS name server. So if you go into your Pi-hole, if you have one installed, you go into the web interface, you go down here to local DNS, click that down arrow, you can see DNS records and CNAME records. Pick your poison. And did I get another slide on that? No, but it's really easy to do, and it's easy to look up. So after I did that, I did a couple of experiments, thought that was kind of interesting. You can see up here, I said, do an NS lookup on rockypi.local. And he says, I don't know what DNS server I'm using, but I'll do that. That's okay. And he said, here's the IP address in IPv6. Here's its DNS name, and here's its IP address in IPv4. Okay, here's what I want you to get out of that. I put in an FQDN and I got back an IP address. When you can search a name from DNS and get back the IP address, that means that entry was in the name server's forward lookup zone. You submit the name, it spits back the IP address. When you put an entry in the Pi-hole name server, it automatically fills in both the forward lookup zone and the reverse lookup zone. The reverse lookup zone says, I'm going to submit an IP address, and it will respond back and tell me what the DNS name is, the FQDN. So, okay, here was a forward lookup because I did a search on the name. Then I did a ping on another device by name and got back the results by IP address. Okay, cool. There's the ping stats. Did another ping by name, came back with the IP address. I didn't bother to do an NS lookup on an IP address, but it would have looked just like this. It would have said the name is this and the address is what you put in, and that's who I got responses back from. So cool, eh? I can't do that. I so want to do that. I wanted to mention something last week, and I didn't. Just a couple words about it. I don't have any pictures for this. Some tech group gave a task to an artificial intelligence array, and they said, design a CPU. And I don't know what criteria they gave it, but it didn't design the fastest CPU ever. But it did something that surprised them. And that was, well, that's terrible. It made a CPU design that was designed to be upgraded and to perform artificial intelligence. Took some of what it knew about itself. Skylab stuff, folks. Skynet. All right, how am I doing on time here? I got a rant. I've been sitting on this for a couple of weeks. I'm gonna do a speedy version of it. Western Governors University, WGU, is presently the largest university in the world by enrollment. They have done for undergraduate degrees what the University of Phoenix did for advanced degrees in the 80s and 90s, maybe early 2000s. Online universities are extremely popular. They are, for themselves, extremely profitable. And you know some of these other ones because there's a handful of ones that advertise here in the US nationally. So you got WGU, you've got University of New Hampshire, you've got Grand Canyon University, a couple others. Those are probably the big three. And the airwaves and the internet sites are bombarded with advertising from them. And I run into references to them all the time in my world. I'm getting a degree in IT from WGU. I have questions, and there's a Reddit for WGU, and a topic comes up on CompTIA Reddit all the time. And I don't know much about them. I didn't anyways before I started this rant. So I decided to do a little bit of research. I went down the rabbit hole and I found a lot of information about it. And I found one particular reference that kind of summed up all of the research that I did. Earlier this year, US News and World Report evaluated a number of factors and ranked the best online bachelor degree programs, including graduation rates, faculty credentials, support services, remote availability, and so forth. They ranked 261 online universities and their programs. The big three advertising, including the biggest one in the world, ranked less than 261. Now, I'm not here just to bash them for that. Fine, you didn't make it, you didn't make it. Here's my problem. Oh, by the way, you're curious? Here's the top 10 according to US News and World Report. Number 1, University of Florida, Embry-Riddle University. If you want to be a pilot, if you want to be a commercial pilot or get into aviation, that's where you go. University of Illinois, Chicago, Medical University of South Carolina, Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. That was number 4, also tied with number 4, therefore number 5. And 6, University of North Carolina, Charlotte. So Medical University of South Carolina, Texas A&M, and University, they were all tied for number 4. Number 7, Arizona State University, which I do see advertised on airways and internet sites. So yeah, of the top 10, they're the only one that is a big advertiser. Tied at number 8, a couple of them, Oregon State and University of Central Florida, UCF. And we'll make number 10, the University of Arizona. So both Arizona State and University of Arizona make the top 10. I bring this up because of what I'm seeing in the online forums. Trying to see how much trouble I can get into by saying this. A lot. Here's the deal. These cheap ones, these ones with massive numbers of students, are graduating people with accredited degrees, with legitimate accreditations. Western Region is WGU's accreditor, which is a valid, they do the accreditation, the primary accreditation for universities of 7 of the Western states. Well, for every one of those things, you can pretty much complete your freshman year with 3 CompTIA certificates, which, if you have a mind to do so, you could study and memorize dumps in a week for all 3, and now you got a year, you're now a sophomore in their university. And what my problem with this is they are so watering down STEM and IT degrees, and they're not the only ones. All of these folks who accept these relatively easy to gain certificates. And then there's more advanced certificates that you can use to apply later. And by the time you're done with these things, you've picked up a dozen certificates and a year and a half of classes from them. And congratulations, you got a Bachelor of Science in IT or MIS or something like that. It is just bugging me to know. If you've gone to one of these universities, if you're going to one of these universities, I'm sorry. I'm just sharing a belief here. And my belief, very strongly held, is that they are watering down the value of STEM degrees. Sorry about that. I could do more. I could go on this for about an hour and a half, but not. This dovetails with an earlier assertion that you've heard me made, that it is so easy to pass these certification tests if that's all your interest is. All I want to do is pass the test. I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to understand anything. I want to get my 90 questions or my 70 questions out of the way, get my score of 725, and okay, I'm Network Plus certified. I love these people because I want to sit in as a fly on the wall for their tech interview and hear how they answer questions like, tell us about your most challenging troubleshooting experience in A+, Network+, Sec+, Pen Test, whatever. What were the symptoms of the problem? What information did you gather? What tools did you use to gather? I got 10 more questions here. You get the idea. I don't know. I memorized 60 questions and I have passed the test. And look, I have a certificate from CompTIA that says I know this stuff. Sorry, man. That just, so, you know, attend a good class. Attend a Mike Myers Total Seminars class. Even one of their big 2 or 3 competitors. They aren't prams. They actually try and teach people something. They try to offer experiences. They offer tools that they can use to learn and practice from. All right, rant mode off. That's been sitting on my chest for a couple of weeks. I had to get it off. I mentioned a week ago that I had a problem with a swollen battery. It was actually my wife's phone. She showed me her phone and holy Hannah, that was a problem. So I took it to the local phone repair shop. I can't tell real well in this picture, but this battery is swollen, big pocket right here on the right-hand side, on the foot of the L shape. This too, all swollen, and it all happened in a very short period of time. Can see a little bit better, some swelling on the right-hand side, the downward one, and on the left-hand side. I didn't take pictures of the phone when it happened. So this is the guy's repair station. And he let me take some pictures of him while he was working. He's got a couple of different workstations here that he uses. I love this one. It's got these little tiny squares in here. Of course, it's anti-static rubber. He needs lots of cool tools to get this stuff open. There's glues, and he uses a heat gun and all that stuff. This board, little bigger version of the same thing. There's his heat gun and more pockets. And one of these boards he had to stand up for all of his tools. It was a wonderful experience. He was an interesting guy. This is one that I've got sitting on the back porch. It started to swell. I decided not to change the battery because it was old and obsolete. The battery started to swell 1.5 years ago. And I thought, you know, I'm going to put this out on the back porch on something that won't catch fire, this piece of terracotta, and I'm just going to let it sit there for as long as it does until it catches fire and burns and explodes or just keeps swelling. What do you think of that? So there's a site on Reddit. I haven't been there yet. I've been told about it. And I showed this to somebody and said, oh my gosh, you got to post those there. We'll see. It's called Spicy Pillow or Spicy Pillows, because that's the nickname for a swollen lithium-ion battery. And people post their pictures of their swollen batteries right now. And I'm told that I may have a competitor here. One of the things the phone guy told me is, or asked me is, did it crack the screen? And I hadn't thought about that. And I said, well, fortunately, no. Turned out I was wrong. There was a little single micro dot scratch in there, or crack, but it doesn't hurt anything, he said, and it's not leaking LCD, so cool. This one, all 5 of these visible cracks here, that came from the swelling before the top half finally separated from the bottom half. So I think what'll happen, I think it's done. I don't think it can swell anymore. I'll pull that out and take some actual pictures of it. Personal stuff. Caught up on Strange New Worlds last night. So now I'm waiting with everybody else for the next episode. Pretty good. I'm enjoying it. What We Do in the Shadows premieres tonight, this very day. And it's at 10 p.m. Eastern, I think, which means if I can go find an FX stream, I can watch it tonight. I'll probably watch it tomorrow night after somebody posts it without all the commercials. All right, I got to talk about, I get 2 other pieces of personal news, and then we're off in business here. You know, I never pull this out. You got to know, you got to remember, I love the Intel NUC. little 4x4 square computers, everything from 4th generation Intel CPUs all the way through 13th generation stuff. Very well configured. They're great computers. I love them. I'm running 3 of them here in my desk, and I got one that's my home theater PC in there. They're great. They're freaking great. They have the benefit of being among the very few computers that are certified by Canonical to run Ubuntu. There's special drivers available for them. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's not perfect. I found a program that doesn't run on it that I really want to run. But there you go. Today, Intel announced they are killing the line. They are killing it now. Ones that they had announced that are coming out in the future, now we're not going to do that. I am heartbroken. I don't know what to do. I am hoping that somebody will pick up the line. They sell that line to somebody else because they are just great. And if not that, hopefully somebody will come up with a decent competitive product. Dell has a product called the SFF, the small form factor, but it's not nearly as small. And they got AMDs in them, which you can't hear. I can't tolerate. Last one. As you may recall, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, I switched my default search engine from Google. And then I went to DuckDuckGo, and then I moved from DuckDuckGo a couple of years ago to Quant, QWANT, which has always been okay. I'm going to rate it about an 8 out of 10 if you compare it to all of the good things about Google. The big bad thing about Google, of course, is how much data they're scraping from you while you're scraping data from them. I never have much luck using operators with Quant. Quotations, slashes, commas, and or. And so 2 weeks ago, I said, you know what? I got to go learn their operators. Maybe they have different operators than everybody else. So I went to their main site and I went to look up their operators, and I couldn't find anything. And so I went and did some traditional online research and discovered Quant doesn't have operators. So if I say minus hello in something, that's basically like saying plus hello. That's like saying and hello. Whatever words I use, the site must also have the word hello in it. So now it's a 7.5 instead of an 8. All right, let's take a look at who's posted what, and then we're going to get into Angie on Raspberry Pi running Rocky. What am I looking for here? This. Whoa. Tell her it's here. And it was scrolling all this time here. I saw prices starting to come down a lot in the last 4 months, says Jason. You're dead on. Sorry, I'm late. Time got away. That's okay. It's all good. Patricia was here to cover for you. And if you didn't turn up, I would make Patricia a mod. Reading messages. Everybody saying hi to everybody. Hurricane projected middle of next week, hoping it will diminish. I haven't seen Western hurricanes yet. Okay. Yeah, we will be praying for you. 'Tis the season. Don't have a manual can opener, so I ordered one. Okay. You got a hammer? Yeah, quantum computing. That was the new 70 qubit, 72, 3. I got notes in here. I'm skipping past them, letting it go. What a coincidence. I was looking for online education. Hey, look, you know what? You want to tell somebody you've got a bachelor's of science in IT? There's the method. There's the easy way to do it. But I wouldn't go in. I would not hold my chances high when I applied to someplace with my bachelor's from WGU up against somebody with their bachelor's from any of the ranked schools in the US. You know, everything from my little tiny school, Ohio University, Ohio State University, the Texas schools. You know, I can come up with a list of 60 schools off the top of my head that I know I wouldn't stand a chance against. And that doesn't include the Ivy League. But, you know, to each their own. Yes, swollen batteries are called spicy pillow. Look it up. Michael Smyer, our good friend and Uber genius over at Total Seminar, when I told him I had a swollen battery issue and I was going to go have a pro take care of it, he immediately jumped up and said, "That's spicy pillow." So when I went down to the phone guy and I told him about that conversation, he said, "Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. They are called spicy pillow." And that was when he told me about the Reddit site. And so I got back from the Fix-It shop. I sent Michael a message and said, "Hey, there's a Reddit site." And he didn't know that part of it. Yeah, one for Dave. So he immediately goes to the site, starts checking it out, posting pictures from it on our back channels. I felt so good. Angie, will those clouds disappear? Thank you. All the major names from the Stones are still alive, but can't be above. I found the same thing using operators with my search engines. I don't use Google as much any longer. Good. No operators at all in quant. None at all, other than the implied and. So if you put multiple words in there, there's implied and. P38 for the win. I keep one on my keychain can opener. Do I have a P38 or did somebody get mentioned? Somebody, I don't have a P38 in here. I know that. I love the P38, but I don't have one in here, so I'm not sure where you're seeing that. I've got bottle openers everywhere, but just realized need a manual. All right, well, let's dive into L Project. I haven't reviewed this in a while. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to play it by ear. I don't think I have any more slides that I need to share. Let me check this. All right, so the quickie review. Angie is a web server that's a drop-in replacement for NGINX. Plus, everything that's premium in NGINX that you got to pay for has been built into Angie. And the developers are people who left NGINX and said, "Hey, we're going to recreate it. It's open source, and we are going insane FOSS, free and open source. So we're going to take all that stuff we developed as premium. That's all FOSS, and so we're including it for free." I don't know what their business model is. I don't know how they plan on surviving, but they've been doing it for quite some time, and it is fantastic. It's amazing because NGINX is fantastic and amazing. And one of the things you just got to love about this thing is it will run on any platform out there. Zillions of SBCs, single board computers, zillions of flavors of Linux, some non-Linux flavors. And that was why I chose the Raspberry Pi running Rocky today. If it runs Rocky, it'll run on Alma and it'll run on Red Hat. I know that's a stupid name to call it, right? But there it is. All right, so let me get the share screen up and going here. Share with, that looks like a Rocky. This is all done command line. And if I get this done quick enough, I should have done this in advance. I'll set up a port forward so you can access this thing tonight. This goes pretty quick here, since we're bypassing all of this gobbledygook. Angie.software is a good place to go learn about it. And it'll come up in Russian, but there's an English button on there that you can press and it will Anglify for you if you're so inclined. Tulowit, you can stay on the Russian site. I got 400 pages of notes on the thing. Oh, I'm going to put a link. This is a link to the NGINX site. How do I get over there? There we go. And it shows their three primary products. NGINX site and their differences and similarities. Wherever there's a check mark, Angie can do it. Wherever it says premium, Angie can do it for free. So it's got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of goodies here. I think I just did that. Yeah. Not doing that, not doing that, not doing that. I'm going to post the site where I got my how-tos on this thing. And there's one kind of little trick to the whole thing. There's one little piece of software that you have to add that they don't tell you about on the Angie site directly. I'll mention it in here, of course, and you can read about it in there. So we walk away here, all done. All right, so the first thing we got to do is to create or identify, to locate a repository from which Angie can be loaded. So first of all, I'm going to go into a folder. I'm going to CD into whack-etsy whack-yum.repos.d. We'll take a look in there. And here's the documentation for all of the repos that this computer right now knows how to get. And we're going to create another repo, sudo nano, which is my text editor, and we're going to create a file called nginx.repo. Enter. Oop, got to give the password here. It's Rocky Linux, ROCKYLINUX. All right, so now I'm in my text editor, and now we've got to put 7 lines into it. You can get these 7 lines out of that site I gave you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm a little concerned about this one, but it's not a bash file, so it's okay. Okay, that's all right. So this is going to tell our system where the files are, where the repo is, and how to get signing keys and some other goodies like that. We don't have to care or understand about this. We just got to know it's there. So now we save it. Control X, yes, enter. And so there it is, the NGINX repo. We take a look at it. There it is. So this is where we failed 2 weeks ago because the site was down. I'll copy and paste so I don't make typos. So I'm going to sudo yum. We use yum in Red Hat style Linuxes. Install, we'll say -y so it doesn't prompt me. You want to do this, yes or no? And then Angie, and it'll look through all of those repos and say, oh, okay, NGINX is the one where we've got Angie. Hey, we're making headway that we didn't happen. Error, unable to find match Angie. What are you doing to me today? Sudo yum install -y, package name is Angie. Yes, enter. We're not installing modules at this time. How did I typo that? No match for argument Angie. There's Angie. Name is the Angie repo. You know, sometimes nature's against you, and this is telling me to abandon. I can't tell you how many times that I have done this. Warning, failed loading repos, NGINX repo. It skipped it. Why? Okay, it's got good valid permissions all the way. I'm not giving up this quickly. I'm going to go, because that's all there is to do. And it's that, and then we're going to do turn it as a service, and it'll be up and running. There's premium modules, sudo yum install, package name is Angie. All right, I'm going to go over to that site and see if there's something stupid that I'm missing, or if I miscopied it. It could happen. Set up the repo, create a file named nginx.repo with the following content. If needed, mstsc, everything is done CLI, show putty. Okay, do this. Right now, somebody from Rocky is watching this show saying, Rush, what are you doing? You missed the obvious, duh. All right, let me stop that share so I can go do this. All right, supported distros, Alma, CentOS, Rocky. Click on Rocky here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I know the problem. Probably would have been fine last time. That first line bothered me, and I knew it should have. All right, let's try this again. Let's set it up so that you can see it. Then we'll try this again. Share. All right, so what I did is I took the first line out of that repo. So now it doesn't start out with some sentence that was really notes for me. It starts with Angie. All right, so we sudo yum install -y Angie. Ready? Boom. Oh, baby, you're happening just the way you should. It's probably would have worked fine a couple of weeks ago. So he's doing buzz, 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 grind, 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 and it's complete. How do you like them apples? So we've installed Angie. It's ready to rock and it's ready to roll. The only thing that I want to do now, oh, by the way, what you would do next is you could run Angie at this point and install the free premium modules, but it's not running yet. So we got a little problem here. And these are some of the steps that are missing in those instructions because you're kind of expected to know it at this level. I've got them all documented. I fixed that one. I will put them up on ADRAMADA.com this weekend, and all the other ones. I haven't done any of those yet, but they'll be up and they'll do this. But you could always just follow along here. So first of all, we're going to go into the folder where it was all installed. And there's just a file here, a default configuration file. And we're going to edit that configuration file. So sudo nano, the default conf. And here's our problem. I have a pair of web servers already running in this box. One is listening to port 80 and the other is listening to port 9090. Well, not surprisingly, Angie by default listens. You can see on the very top line, it says listen 80. So I'm going to make a change there. And we're going to set this to run on port 81. Anything else I need to do there? Nope. Save it. Control X. Yes. Save. All right. So now when this thing runs, it'll run on port 80. And to get there, you type in the URL :80 or the IP address :80. Next thing we're going to do, we could run it right now, but what I want to do is I want to set this up so that it runs every time this computer boots up. And so we're going to say sudo system control start Angie. This is the first step. All it's doing right now is going to run the server. It's not making it a permanent forever going to run yet. So now is where we test it. Is it really running right now? And of course, one test would be to open up a browser and try and access it. That will fail because I've still got firewall problems. That's the nature of Red Hat Linuxes. So we'll use system control and check the status of this new Angie service. Blech. Lots of gobbledygook in there, but here is the big one. Is it active? Yes, it is active and running for the last 26 seconds. How are we doing on time here? Great. So now we're going to fix the firewall so that people can access this thing from the outside using TCP port 81. Let's see, let's get rid of that and we'll clear the screen here and put it up where it's nice and easy to see. So I'm going to say sudo firewall-cmd. We're going to make a permanent adjustment to the firewall to the zone called public. I'll get into that when we do firewall someday. And I want to add an entry that allows access via port 81 TCP. So I'm add port, I hit the enter key, buzz, buzz, grind, grind. Okay, it says success. I love that answer. Some systems may require, depending on what you've done recently, for you to put in the sudo password at this point. So I've made a change to the firewall file, but changes made to the firewall file don't happen until you dump the firewall rules in memory and make your computer reload the firewall rules that are in the firewall file. So I'm going to say sudo firewall command -- reload. Buzz, buzz, grind, grind. Okay, we've got a new set of firewall rules in memory. And now let's take a look at all of the rules in the firewall. I'll say sudo firewall command, list all. And what do we see here? Open ports, 22. So for FTP, 81 for what we've just done. And some other ones are in there by name. There we go. So the HTTP, that's port 80. That's 22 as well. I don't have 443 running in here. 9090 should be in here somewhere. Don't see it, but doesn't matter. Here's the part that I care about. I am open to 81 TCP. So this thing is running. It's ready to test. All right, let's open up a browser here. I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to set up a browser that you can see. Browser, browser, browser. Do that. Go over here. Okay, that's the active browser. We'll share that. And I got to check and make sure the IP address of that thing hasn't changed. IPA. And Ethernet is okay. No change on the IP address on that. So if I just say the IP address of that particular Raspberry Pi, 192.168.1.101, there is an implied port 80. So let's see what happens. All right. So this is a surprise to me. HTTP test. Oh, okay. This is my Apache web server running on there. So let's change this to my other web server, 81. There we go. Enter, and there we go. That's our Angie web server up and running. So it's really simple in theory. You have to tell the system where the repository is by creating a repo file. Then you do a traditional sudo yum install. We don't use apt in here. We use yum and DNF. And then it's installed. Update the configuration file if you need to change the listening port. Open up the firewalls and make it a system service if you want. Because now, because of what we've done here, it'll boot up every time I boot up. I have in this document that I've created for you to download next week, the instructions on how to undo everything step by step if you ever need to do that. And how am I doing on time here? I got time. I will open up my, I didn't set up a DNS. It's not worth it. If you knew, yeah, it's not worth it. All right, so that's done. I'm not going to walk you through the uninstall. That's it. That was installing Angie. For all that 3 weeks of drama, we can't install this thing. It took us 20 minutes, and that's, you know, filled with 12 and a half minutes of Dave explanations and maybe more. So back to notes here and back to who's still in and who's willing to hang out for this stuff. Y'all people are crazy. Let me exit out of this putty. I don't need that anymore. And back into, oh, this thing. That's where you are. All right, picking up after the P38. Patricia laughs, NGINX site, that's my post. Angie site loaded slowly for me. Those cold Russian winters, slowing things. I'll take that cold Russian winter here today. Will Shaw, welcome to the party. Will, everything that we did, you can do exactly like step-by-step for the CentOS system. There may be some minor changes like using apt. System control works the same. The firewall command's a little bit different in DNS, but if you go to that link that I sent you to, it's got the installation instructions for everything, right? For Debians and Ubuntu's and the Rockies and the Raspberry Pis and. HOA meeting. I missed my HOA meeting on Tuesday because we did study hall on Tuesday. I like my study. I like those meetings. Patricia Grace, Andre needs to add that to his t-shirt. Buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. I don't know how long I've been saying that, but it's been decades. Yay, long last. And like I said, the thing probably would have worked a couple of weeks ago, weren't for that stupid bad line in the configuration. All right, well, we got about 3 minutes to go. Any other final thoughts? We had effectively a 0 body count this week, but they'll pick up. I'm sure everybody's watched over the last 3 weeks and said, what the heck is Rushman doing? His show is gone. No, not gone, not forgotten. Man, I have good, oh, I'd buy that shirt. If Andre makes that, I will pay for it and for shipping from Belgium, right? He's a Belgie. I'm not a Frenchie, I'm a Belgie. Why did my screen just totally blank? What did I do? Did I hit something in Zoom? Oh, okay, I see. Where was I? Those are thoughts. All right, anyways, so I've got lots of stuff in the bin. I'm thinking about sticking with Linux for a little while, just because I found a really fun article sometime last weekend or some night this week or something. 20 fun commands to run in Linux. Some of them, I don't think they're very fun. I think they're more dangerous than fun, but like that, that's where I found that C matrix and love C matrix. And it's not, you know, that might be an interesting thing. I may try to learn to port that thing over so that it'll run on Rocky. It'd be a good learning experience. All right. Well, let's close her down on time for a change. I got a minute to go. And that's unusual for me. Hey, everybody, thanks for turning up. We'll be back to normal here. We are back to normal. I've got an effective backup solution, so that's good stuff. And I've got my alternative setup that I will get to this weekend, because I don't have this weekend, fortunately, any really big projects that I have to do and will prevent me from doing that. I should mention one thing. I went down to the office today, did a thing, meetings down there, and there's a bakery about 15 minutes south of the office that's got keto baked goods, and friends and relatives and everybody have been telling me to go down there. And the wife has been beating me up. Hey, whenever you go to the office. So today I said, I'll stop in there. I went in there with the mindset. I've learned that keto baked goods at bakeries, they are pricey. So I said, I'm just going to order what we would get here without looking at the price list and then deal with the sticker shock afterward. 4 muffins, couple of packages of bagels. One had 4 in it, maybe the other had 7 or 8 in it, and 2 keto brownies. Think that's everything. $90 and change. Gonna make it last for 6 months. Hey, all right, let's wind her up then. Thanks again, everybody. We will be back next week, Thursday. Those of you who follow the AMA this Monday will be the literal last Total Seminars AMA ever. Okay, Mike did his swan song 4 weeks ago. I've been doing it for 3 weeks. This will be the closing one. This is the first time anybody's heard that officially. Here it comes. All right, closing her down. I wish you, as ever and always, it's Thursday, great rest of the week and the weekend. Please take care of each other and take serious steps to stay healthy. If at all possible, call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but you know it, the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, I bid you good evening. See you on ADRAMADA next Thursday. I'll see you on AMA next Monday. I'll see you on Study Hall. I think it's my Study Hall coming up this week on Tuesday night on our Discord server that my company was starting. Remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. Eep, op, ork, later, kids.